Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Tuesday, August 19th. So, what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about when you do everything right, or you think you do everything right, and it turns out not so good. What do you do about it? So, stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric. If you didn't already know it, yes, this is the weekday, Monday through Friday. Today is Tuesday, the 19th of August, 2025. So, what are we talking about today? I'm talking about you can do everything right and have it still go south, right? And I saw the post with the three wheeler where you thought it was one thing, and when you got in deeper, you realized that it was a lot worse than what you had first imagined. And the customer decided not to do it. And Jason gave you some good advice. But I've seen, here's the clincher, is when you are pricing a job, you know, it's always better to price it high and come in low, right? Because then the customer is always happy. And then if you screw up and you price it low and it comes in high, then it leaves a bad taste in the customer's mouth. So where is the fine line? Because I have to look at every job. And as in our shop, if I'm not willing to do it to my own machine, I usually won't do it to somebody else's. And I'll actually try to talk them out of it. I know you're not supposed to do that. But I think if you treat the customer right, they'll keep coming back. If you're only as good as your last job, so if you leave them with a bad taste in their mouth, good chances are they're not going to come back. But if you're in the habit of overpricing so that you're trying to please the customer, what you could also be doing is eliminating work that you could be doing. And I don't know how many times that I thought it was going to be this, which is somewhat expensive, and it turned out to be this, which wasn't so bad. And if I had quoted them the highest price, I wouldn't have done it for my own machine, and I would have walked away. And that's what your customer will do too. We had a machine that we just picked up. We did a job for this young gal, and it was a Cub Cadet, and we replaced the blades on it and did a front to back on it, and it runs great. But she had this Husqvarna 54-inch cut sitting in the yard with grass growing up around it, and I told Claude I'd be interested in buying that for the right money. I said we'll have to sit on it and flip it in the spring. But when we approached her on that lawnmower, she said, actually, Eric, I was hoping that you would load that, take that with you and see if you can fix that one as well. Because they had sent it somewhere else and the shop said it wasn't worth fixing. What do you do? Well, I know what I do. I'd rather take shop work, which is cash now, than buy something, invest my money into it, and then have it go south on us, and then it be too expensive, and then it be up in the boneyard, right? Because you don't know anything about it. So of course, what I did was, yes, we'll load it on, we'll take it back to the shop, we'll do the same thing we did with the one that we just dropped off. If it's going to be an expensive fix, you will hear from us. If not, then we're going to go ahead and fix it for you. Yesterday was the first chance that I've had to get at it, because we picked it up on Friday, later in the afternoon. What amazed me was there was no gas in the gas tank. It was empty. And everything else looked somewhat decent, and in a shape. We hit it with some carb cleaner, took the air filter off, sprayed it with carb cleaner. Claude couldn't get it to do anything. And what it ended up being was a defective foot switch on the brake. So once we had that figured out, the thing started and ran on carb clean. Now, that isn't any guarantee it's going to run, but tells me that it has the potential to run, all right? Because let's be reasonable, that even a low compression engine will run on carb cleaner where it won't run on gas. It won't have enough to pull it, So, had I priced, first looking at that lawnmower, what I thought it was going to take to fix, I probably would have had her back off and say, well, just leave it there, right? Or worse yet, to me anyways, she would have said, what are you willing to give me for it? And I would have told her like 100, 150 because I don't know anything about it. And I wouldn't have felt right selling it for 600 to 700 if I only put another $50 into it. You see what I'm saying? So there's a fine line there in the sand that you have to build into your diagnostic, build into your repertoire of how you're going to deal with each customer. And each customer is unique. There's no two customers are alike. And the approach that you use is going to vary a little bit too. The person with the three-wheeler, it is what it is. I'm sorry, but you're still going to pay the diagnostic fee of me tearing it down to this point. And if you want me to put it back together, you're going to pay that rate as well. I know sometimes that's not right, but we can't work for free either. How long did it take you to tear it to that point to figure out that it was deeper than what you had thought it was? Because I'm going to tell you right now, there isn't a person in this forum, this group, that can tell you that they're 100% spot on every time. I'm lucky if it's a 50-50 crapshoot. When I'm looking at something, looking at a turd, and ends up being the really nice running machine that somebody had either ran out of gas and forgot to add gas, so they parked it. Something simple. But looking at it in the tall grass, I was thinking it was going to cost at least $200 to $300 to get it through the shop, and that was no guarantee. I did not hear the engine run. I did not see it drive on its own or move on its own. So let's take a step back to hitting it with carb cleaner and it firing up. It may run great, but it may not move. The hydrostatic transmission may be shot. I don't know that until I get the engine running enough to try the transmission. You see what I'm saying? So if I bid the job or bring it to the customer saying, well, it could cost, and I'm thinking in my head, if the damn thing runs, you're talking a complete service on it. And then if it doesn't move, now you're looking at a new transmission or a good used one, and they're still bringing $500-600 for a good used one. So that customer would walk again. That's what I mean by there's a fine line. There is no yes or no answer to everything. It's your gut. Your gut will get you through a lot of it. And it comes with time and experience and wisdom. That your gut starts to tell you, stay away from it. If you start feeling like you need to do the Catholic cross sign, it's a good chance that it's probably not a good thing to get into. And I use my gut a lot in the last few years because it's not intuition, it's just experience. And that's the biggest thing for you guys that are just getting into this is experience. What I'm looking at right now, and what you may want to look at as well, and maybe you're already doing it, is we handle mostly, the lawn and garden and then the tractor side, small compacts and older farm tractors. a certain size and down, right? So we handled that. We did do the gauntlet of the Massimos, Colemans, the Chinese crapola, and it was just a nightmare. A nightmare all in itself, and it was an easy one to give up because it was costing us money. It wasn't making us money, it was costing us money. And you can say, well, since you're the only warranty shop in the Northeast, you guys should be making out really well. No. First, they weren't good payers. Second, they wanted twice what they wanted for their parts so they could buy on eBay. So they were marking up their parts and jerking us around, hoping that we would just stop pestering them. I think they paid out on 2 jobs. Because every other job, kind of like what you were saying, Amos, about the insurance companies, deny, and hope that you're going to go away. And the thing is what they don't understand is if they do that to their customers, how long are you going to remain a customer of someone that doesn't stand behind their stuff? It'd be one thing if they told you you're buying as is, where is when you show up to decide on that, buying that model. But see, the way they were selling those models were, look, Eric's shop is right local, and he's a warranty shop for him, and he can take care of any problems you have with it. So they were using us as a selling device, which I don't think was right. I mean, they weren't lying. We were the warranty shop for Massimo and Coleman and all their products, Hassan or whatever you want to pronounce it. But they were piss poor to deal with, all right? And the crap that they had was crap. Back to what I was talking about, I have brain frogs, of things that we're looking at doing right now that you may already be doing, and that is going back towards the ATV, UTV market, but doing it only in customizations. And that means new tires and rims, lift kits, CV joints. We've been doing them for years. Stuff to make their rig look sharper, winches, front windshields, and you don't need to stock that stuff, all right? You can buy as needed. Because a lot of these customers will bring it to you during the off season to have it done. And that's what I'm looking at. But the thing you need to, when it comes to customizations, this is what you need to do. You need to have at least the parts money up front. I'm telling you right now. Not unless it's an old-time customer you've been dealing with for years. But if they decide on a set of tires and rims and you order that tires and rims, you could be in a couple grand, all right? And then they say, oh, I changed my mind. I really don't want that. Well, sucks to be you, right? Well, no, it sucks to be me because if I didn't get my money up front for those tires and rims, now it's my problem. If I got the money up front for the tires and rims, I could tell them, hey, you can change whatever you want because you're paying for it. But that $2,000 that you gave me, that's for these tires and rims, and you're going to either have to pedal these or pay another $2,000 to get a different one. You see what I'm saying? That's what we're looking at for increased revenue into the shop, is adding those phases in. And people love their side-by-sides in our area. And first thing they do is they take the knobby tires off for off-road, and they put like these truck tires on it because they're traveling mainly main roads and then well-groomed dirt roads. It's not mud holes and Baja and all that. Most of these people are 45 and above. They bought it to ride together in groups, and they can go all through the whole Adirondacks here in the North Country right up to Cranberry Lake, and I think you can get onto the trails and end up down around Utica. So it's become a big thing, even though you can't register a UTV in the state of New York. But law enforcement has just turned the other way, which I'm glad for it, because so many people have gone to that because they can take their families with them. They've got the crew cabs where they can throw the kids in the back and go for an outing, go for a ride. Just something to give thought to if you're seeing a boom in your area. I mean, it's no different than trucks and cars. If you guys are the ones that are into that for automotive, everybody likes to make their vehicle look sharper, right? And no, I'm no different. The only problem is I've got a set of Chevy blacked out rims and tires that when I sold the Chevy, I took them off, put the originals back on the Chevy because it was worth more with the original tires and rims that came from Chevy. And then when I bought the Ford, the Chevy rims wouldn't fit the Ford, so I bought this time Unimount rims that will do Ford, Chevy, or Dodge half tons just by turning the rim a little bit. And I got 4 of those. I got 5 of the Chevy and 4 of the Una. But neither set will fit my 2500 Dodge Ram, which is an 8-bolt. So now I got to go out and buy another set of rims and tires, because the ones that come from the factory, at least my experience, is you get a little bit of freezing rain, snow, sleet, and all that, and it's just like being on ice skates, but you can't control the freaking truck. That Ford that I bought brand new had it's almost like plastic. I don't know what the hell's on it, but it had no. The truck would just take off, sliding sideways in the slush, and so I got to get that updated by fall. But that's what I mean. We customize our vehicles. We add on things to make it our own. And I don't see too many people doing that to their lawnmowers. But if you're in an area where side-by-sides and four-wheelers and that are prevalent, that could be another income source without getting into the engine and transmission and all that. You're just dealing with making it look prettier. Add-ons. Now I'm going to bring it back around, all right? Because we're going to start ending this video. When you go into doing a project, hindsight is 20/20. Heading forward is the unknown, and you have to be mindful that if you price it too high, the customer won't even attempt it. You'll get your diagnostic if you can get them to bite, like Jason said. But they may just say, don't even bother touching it. No, I'm not interested in even having you look at it if it's going to cost that much money. Where that job could have been, instead of quoting them $600-700, it may have come through the shop and only cost $200 to $300. And the customer would have been thrilled to pay the $200 to $300. But you have set the bar too high to where they have changed their mind. And worse yet, it goes to another shop and the other shop fixes it for $200 to $300. What is that customer going to think about you? And here's the skivvy. If you got work up the yin yang, you're not really too worried about it. But for our sake here, we go like this, all right? It starts to slow down, then it picks up, then it slows down. Right now, the lawn and garden and stuff is pretty much, if most of our customers and most of the people in our area have gotten it to this point, they're going to try pushing it through until the end before they do any work to it. Replace any belts, sharpen blades, and all that other good stuff. They're going to try to keep it going. Price it where you at least get your diagnostic, and it's a double-edged sword. If you price it too cheap and it gets too expensive, it leaves a bad taste in the customer's mouth. If you price it too much and the customer walks away, you just lost that job. And another shop just got it because they didn't price it way out there. You know, what I tell my customers, and you can use the way I deliver it to my customer, is I won't put a dime more than what I would in my own machine. I don't know what it's going to cost to fix it at this point, but that's why we're doing a diagnostic. If you're willing to cover at least a diagnostic fee, I can tell you close to what it's going to cost to fix your lawnmower. The diagnostic is $45, and we can usually have it knocked out in about 10-15 minutes to figure out what's really going on with it. But you at least get your diagnostic, right? And you put the customer at ease because you're on the customer's side. That's where you should be to start with. It's not how to put it to your customer. It's how to treat your customer the best that you can. Your customer is a partner in your business. They bring stuff to you because they want you to succeed. So why wouldn't you want them to succeed and be able to get theirs fixed for a reasonable price? They're not just a mark. To me, they're my partner, they're my customer, they're my neighbor, they're my friend, and I'm going to treat them as such. So on that note, you guys have a great Tuesday. Have cardiac rehab today. Yippee, yippee, yippee. Try and decide how much longer I'm going to do this. I mean, jogging on a treadmill and doing other stuff is crazy. Just give that some thought. Put in the comments, what you think my line of logic is when it comes to pricing stuff. And are you already doing the customization of UTVs and ATVs? And if you are, how's that going for you? And do you ask for the parts up front so that at least you won't get stuck with the parts? On that note, you guys have a great Tuesday. We'll catch you here bright and early tomorrow morning. Again, thanks so much for supporting and watching the videos here on the channel.